Hello and welcome you all in geological knowledge. So in the previous video we have discussed very important questions related to the classification of the earthquakes, in which we have talked about the basis of the classification, some very important questions related to the objective type of questions. Okay, so in the current video, in this video we will talk about the causes of the classification. Means what are the causes or why the earthquakes takes place, the major reasons, major causes behind the occurrences of the earthquakes. So that will be the point of our today's discussion. Okay, so let's start our discussion. So the very first question, that is dealing with the volcanic earthquakes, are rarely felt outside the regions of inactive volcanoes. So there is a statement given and you have to tell whether it's true or false. So volcanic earthquakes are rarely felt outside the region of inactive volcanoes. So you have to tell whether it's true or false. So what happens, that is, in volcanic eruptions, huge quantity of lava that are thrown out suddenly under a great pressure as well as with a big bang. That causes the tremors all around the volcanic earthquakes, as these are called and are rarely felt outside the region of the active volcanoes. Okay, so statement is true. And in the previous video we have already talked about that why volcanic eruptions or the volcanic earthquakes takes place. Okay, so earthquakes, they are widely associated with the volcanoes and they are more localized both in case of the extent of the damage, means the amount of damage that will be created, as well as in the intensity of the waves. So these intensity that is produced by the waves in comparison to those which are associated with faulting motion in case of the tectonic earthquakes. Okay, so a shock waves or the shocks, they are produced because of the volcanic eruptions, and there can be several mechanisms like the faulting within the volcano, which results from the pressure in the chamber of the molten rock that we call lava, or the explosion of the volcano upon the release as well as the expansion of the gases and lava. We all know that is when the volcano that erupts or the explosion of volcano takes place, then huge amount of gases as well as the lava that is being produced. Or there can be another mechanism, that's the collapse of the center of the volcano into the space which is formed by the extrusion of the gases and molten material. Okay, so when the collision will take place only when the extrusion of gases and molten material will take place, then the space will be created, and because of the creation of that space, the collapse of the roof or the center of that volcano that can takes place. Okay, so these can be the three mechanism, or these can be three causes for the volcanic eruptions or the volcanic earthquakes. Okay, so volcanic earthquakes, they are rarely felt outside the regions in inactive volcanoes. So the statement which is given, that is true. Second one is dealing which earthquake is local in nature and rarely occurring. Volcanic earthquakes, shallow focus earthquakes, collapse earthquakes, or the intermediate earthquakes. Okay, so the collapse earthquakes that we have already talked about, they are invariably of local nature and they are rare in occurrence. Okay, so collapse earthquakes that will takes place only when the collapse of the center of the volcano into the space which has been created because of the extrusion of gases and molten material takes place. Okay, so that is the condition for the formation of collapse earthquakes. So these are caused when a portion of the ground collapse suddenly because of the removal of the support or the overlying material from below due to the natural process of rock wastage. Okay, so this process takes place, but this is not very formal or very prominent. This process is little bit rare in occurrences. So that's why the collapse earthquakes, they are local in nature and rarely occurring. Okay, so option C, that will be the correct option here. Third one is, which theory is acclaimed as a satisfactory explanation about the cause of an earthquake? So we all know that is very famous theory which was proposed by Professor H.F. Reed. Okay, so and that is known as the elastic rebound theory. Okay, so this theory was proposed by H.F. Reed, and what is what has been created or what has been talked in this theory. So tectonic earthquakes, they are most commonly and are therefore the most important destructive as well, we have already talked. And the forces which causes the tectonic earthquakes, they are same which causes the faulting and produces the mountains of the earth surface. Okay, so the forces, they are the same, and the possible mechanism of tectonic earthquakes, that is explained as the elastic rebound theory. Okay, so what happens in that theory? So in certain zones of the earth crust, we all know the stresses, they accumulate gradually in the rock masses. So because of the creation of the stresses or stresses which accumulate in the rocks gradually, so when the stresses, they exceed the elastic limit of the rocks, so they bend as well as cracks. So the slippage along the fracture, that is initially prevented by a friction. So under these conditions, the rocks will store up little amount of energy which is in form of the elastic strain, and some slight movement which takes place. Whenever these slight movement which takes place along the fracture planes, they will produce the force shocks. Okay, and when the strain reached a critical point, the friction is overcome and slippage takes place. So the fractured blocks, they are snapped back to its original position, original shape, thereby releasing huge amount of stored energy in the form of earthquakes by vibrating back and forth. So thus springing back of the rocks, that is known as the elastic rebound theory. So in simple terms, you can understand that is the force shocks are generated because of the stresses which are being accumulated in rocks gradually, and when these rocks or when the stresses these exceed the elastic limit of the rocks, they bend as well as crack in nature. And when the slippage takes place, the slight movement that takes place in the fracture planes, that produces force shocks. Okay, and the strain, when this particular strain that reached a critical point, the friction is overcome and slippage takes place. Okay, so the springing back of the rock or the stored energy, so this coming back of the rock or the elastic limit, that is known as the elastic rebound theory. Okay, and some adjustment along the fault zone after the main earthquakes, they are known as the aftershocks. Okay, since the faulting has taken place, the cracks or the bending has taken place, and since the rocks are elastic in limit, so obviously they will try to come back in their original positions. So when they try to come back in original positions, so at that time the aftershocks are being created. Okay, so that's the main process behind the elastic rebound theory, and that's the one of the most important theory for the occurrences of the earthquakes. Okay, so the same is given in, as you can see, the elastic rebound theory, which was propounded by H.F. Reed in 1906 and at present widely acclaimed as a satisfactory explanation. Okay, and when he proposed it, so it was proposed by him on the basis of the elaborate studies of the San Francisco earthquakes, okay, of 1906. that was related to the displacement along the San Andreas Fault. Okay, so in 1906 he proposed this theory after the displacement along the San Andreas Fault, okay, in San Francisco. So you can remember the fault as well as the year is not important, but fault is very important, San Andreas Fault. Okay, so option A, that will be the correct option. Fourth one is dealing the phase during which the stored elastic energy is released is preparatory phase, or the rupture phase, post failure phase, or the tertiary phase. Because the phase during which the stored elastic energy is released is known as, so this is known as the rupture phase. And this rupture phase that takes place along the fault, and all or the part the stored elastic energy is released as seismic waves and also transformed into a heat or the potential energy. And main shock is the characteristic property of this phase. Okay, so option B, that will be the correct option. Fifth one is force shocks are often recorded in which phase? Okay, options are same. So we all know that is the force shocks and the after shocks. These are very two important criterias, and we have already talked about in elastic rebound theory that why, how and why these are being created. So force shocks, they are very recorded in very preparatory phase, because the preparatory phase is the phase in which the a non-hydrostatic stresses field that is created in a certain region around the fault. So the direction of the preparatory phase is to ultimately define the size of the actual earthquakes that will take place. And a number of force shocks, they are often recorded during the preparatory phase. So option A, that will be the correct option. The phase which involved restoration to a state of equilibrium is known as, options are again the same, so that is known as the post failure phase. Okay, so the post failure adjustment, that is the phase during which the medium is restored to its state of equilibrium, that involves series of aftershocks, okay, which are simply a manifestation of the release of residual strain from the rocks. Okay, so this phenomena we have already talked about in elastic rebound theory. Okay, and it's very important for you to understand that why and how this aftershocks and foreshocks being created and what are their effects, okay, in the human life or the other structures. Okay, seventh one is dealing earthquakes occur at which portion of the plate? Middle portion, along the boundary of plate, along the equidistance line of the plate, or at the center point of the plate. So it has already been exhaustive data that has already been collected to show that the earthquakes, they occur along the boundaries of plate moving apart each other. Okay, so the earthquakes, they occur along the boundaries of plates which move apart each other. Okay, so option A, that will be the correct option here. Eighth one is the inner regions of plates are free from tectonic earthquakes. So there is a statement, the inner regions of a plate are free from the tectonic earthquakes. So whether it's true or false, that we have to tell. So the tectonism which involves the earthquakes, that is related to those of the boundaries which are stressed, and where stress is released by way of thrust faulting, block faulting, or the transcurrent faulting, the inner region of the plates by and large free from the tectonic earthquakes. Okay, so the inner region that is free from the tectonic earthquakes. So correct option here will be A, or you can say the statement given, that will be the correct. Ninth one is dealing the plate movements at boundary are. So you have to tell the plate movements at the boundaries are very rapid, fast, moderate in speed, or very slow. So since the plate movements at the boundaries are very slow, stresses go on building up in the rocks of the immediate neighborhood till the limits are reached. Okay, so it's very slow process. So slow process, you can understand the plate movement at the boundaries that takes place, or that is a very slow process. Okay, because the generation of stress that takes place slowly, and the stresses on the building up in the rocks, that is immediate neighborhood, that the limit is reached. So that elastic limit that takes place also. Okay, so elastic limit has to be reached, only then the earthquakes will takes place. Okay, so it's a slow process, very slow process, you can say. 10th one is rocks behave as dash masses towards the operating stresses. Inelastic, elastic, isotropic, or the anisotropic. So that's very evident, and we all know that is the elastic rebound theory that we have talked about. So rocks are believed to have behave as the elastic masses towards the operating stresses, and when these are stressed, the rocks respond by the bending as a first reaction. Okay, so obviously what will take place when the stresses will generated in a particular rock, the rocks, when the elastic limit that will be reached, obviously the rocks will bend and cracks will be generated in the rocks. Okay, or there can be slippage along the fracture initially prevented by the friction. Okay, and then the rocks, they will be store up energy as the elastic strain. Okay, so option A, that, so option B, elastic, that is the right option. So rocks behave as elastic masses towards the operating stresses. Okay, so this was our discussion about the causes of the the causes of the earthquakes, that how they are being caused and what are the factors behind the occurrences of the earthquakes. Okay, so that we can or that we have discussed in a nutshell. Okay, and in the next video we will talk about some other important questions related to the seismology.